Welcome back to the second episode of the Natural Bodybuilding and Chill podcast with
Dirk Emmerich
and Gary Glutes Amlinger. We have our obligatory cheers on 3.
2.
1, 2, 3. Perfect.
There
Cheers, brother.
Go. Cheers, brother.
Let's see how this hits.
Like a lemonade, man. Like a good lemonade.
Unbelievable. When you're dieting, this is just insane.
Yeah, it almost tastes like that there's sugar inside in a way.
We should hide the logos because if we want to get sponsored by them,
This would be awesome.
we're giving them free. How do we hide it? Hide it with a tissue?
Like, which one?
Tissue? Hide it like that?
Oh, this one?
Like take a tissue, put it around? Okay. I mean, it's too late.
It's like a
This
little...
one just show.
Yes.
But for the future?
For the future, we're doing it like this.
There
Yeah.
And they'll still know, but it's okay.
It's fine.
We'll figure this
Yeah.
out.
The main goal is a 7-Eleven sponsorship.
Oh, because they have everything.
This would be so...
I'll let you get that first because you deserve it. You gave them more money than they could probably give you. At this
Imagine that. You go to the gym with a 7-Eleven tank top. That's my sponsor, guys.
We would have to be the only athletes sponsored by 7-Eleven. I've never seen it.
I've never seen it as well. I don't even know if they do sponsorships in a way.
I'm sure they don't.
They don't. I don't think so.
But the weird thing is McDonald's sponsors the Olympics, which is hilarious, but you prep on McDonald's sometimes.
Sometimes, yeah. Like McDonald's can be
Part
an
of it.
option. Yeah.
Yeah.
If you have nothing else, it's like easy to track, man. Super easy.
So maybe they were right this whole time. McDonald's is for athletes.
It is.
Okay. I'll go with it. I do love how it tastes, so I won't argue.
Definitely, man.
So this episode number 2, we have way more topics to discuss. Thank you to everybody that DM'd me and Dirk on Instagram with all your topics of conversation.
Yes.
We're going to go over at least 7 of them today on this podcast. So thank you again.
Perfect. Let's dive straight into it.
Yeah, let's do it. I'll let you take the first one.
The first one.
Yeah.
Difference between our training approaches. So that is very interesting. I think we both having a total different approach in regards to like you train with way more volume than me.
Yeah.
And I have more like a lower, very low volume approach, which also shows there's many ways that lead to Rome. Like there's like so many ways to become a world-class elite athlete. It is never like fixed in stone. Like often people want to see like that blueprint of like, that is the only way. And I think you need to find your way. And there's like, again, like many ways to get there. And that is just like, I like to see it like elite bodybuilders, like everyone has their own way, which proves like you need to find your way. Like what works.
Yeah. That's probably the best answer to give to the question of, what our training approaches are toward bodybuilding. And I'll elaborate on that a bit more. So correct me if I'm wrong, but I would say you're more toward lower volume, higher intensity. So you're doing less sets, but you're taking each set to failure. Is that correct?
Into partials as well. Yeah.
Okay. So what dictates when you do partials?
What it dictates, I would say it would mostly on pulling movements. Like on pressing movements, I don't do it, but I hit like an RPE 10 of like, I wouldn't get another full range of motion rep in with the same technique. And on pulling movements, I usually always like go into like partial reps where I still get like some range, like those reps in that range in a way. So this makes it like, I feel one set gives you even more volume in a way, because you don't just stop here, you stop, like you get also more volume within that section, which technically gives it a more volume in a way, I feel.
Okay. Interesting. So it's mainly on back stuff? It's not really on chest, shoulders?
It is mainly back. On side delts I like to do it, on rear delts I like to do it, and also on hamstring movements like leg curls I like to do it, and biceps, triceps. Yeah. Okay. On pressing I don't really do it right now, or also on most quad movements except like CC squats or leg extensions that I like to do it. Yeah, but it's really context dependent. Like on an RDL or on a pendulum squat, it might be a little dangerous to do so.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Like the big compounds, I'm assuming you're going to be careful with that.
Yes, exactly. So
but like a lat pull down, you're going to do partials?
That's great. Yeah, on a lat pull down, for instance.
Very interesting. So yeah, I mean, He's going to failure, and I suppose beyond failure because you're doing partials.
It is beyond in a way, yeah.
So, and lower sets. But here's the thing with like low to high volume, it's very individualized. Certain people can go into the gym and just do one set per muscle per week and grow. This is the thing, this happens. The main takeaway from this, and I'll explain more of my training approach in a second, is that everyone is different. Everyone's going to respond to volume differently. Everyone's going to respond to exercise selection differently. And that's where coaching comes into play to figure out what the athlete needs to make the most optimal progress. Do you agree?
100%. Where it's very individual, and
yes,
it is important of like not trying to copy someone in a way of like, oh, he's doing that, I look up to him, so I want to do that exact same thing. It might work for a few people, but for a lot, it's usually not working. And that is often the reason why people don't make the progress they want to do, because they're just trying to copy someone while it's not there. Like you can't really choose it what works for you. It's like kind of like finding out, accepting what works for you. So that is one thing.
Yeah, it's very true. Everyone responds differently, so keep that in mind. For me, for the vast majority of bodybuilders, both enhanced and natural, I'm doing way more volume than basically everybody. So on average, I would say I'm in the gym 3 hours and 15 minutes every day, 6 days a week. That's not because I love the gym and I want to stay there. It's just that's how long it takes me to do 40 and 50 sets per workout sometimes, depending on the microcycle and the training phase I'm in. If I'm deloading, obviously I'm doing less volume. If I'm really ramping up toward a deload, that's when volume increases. So, but on average, you'd say around 4 hours per session. Now, when I take on clients, I will never put my training approach on them because we're in a way different league. Especially someone who's a beginner or intermediate is going to be able to grow on much less volume than me. I've been at this for about 20 years, but with the goal of being the best bodybuilder I could be around 11 or 12 years. That's a long time. And we gained volume tolerance over 12 years, meaning I slowly injected more and more volume into my training, making sure that progressively overloading, I'm actually getting stronger and bigger, which means that the volume is working. And it took me 12 years to ramp up to 30, 40, 50 sets a session. So I can go into a training session and basically do a 4-hour workout. And in most cases, I could do another like 2-3 hours. Wow. Like I don't feel like dead.
Wow.
And I should also preface this saying my sets are intense. They're not going to be as intense as Dirk's, but I'm living in that 8, 9, 9.5 RPE pretty much on every set. So that is high intensity. It's just not as high as Dirk is going. So it's not like I'm sandbagging my sets and doing junk volume and just rep, no intensity, stop, rinse, repeat. It's not that way. And you could check my training. It's quite intense. So sometimes my face doesn't show how intense it is because I tend to have a very chill, I guess, stoic face, if you will, when I train. Yeah. Most of the time, sometimes can't hide it. Yeah. Sometimes it's just like, fuck this.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I think that gives a good overview of our training approaches. Also, I would say he's more controlled with his reps, which I think is excellent. And 95% of my clients are going to train somewhat like that with control. Momentum and things like that, more explosive reps, I would say comes far later for my clients. It's just not needed, especially in the first like 5 to 7 years. Like you don't need to be doing dumbbell laterals with 60 pounds. You're going to grow with 20s and 30s most likely. That's another thing. I mean, everyone always comments on how good your form is, which it is. It's pristine, just like Alberto Nunez. It's very, very
same for him as well. Yes.
And actually, I used to train that way most of my life, even before I decided to be a bodybuilder, was like that. Wow, in fact, it was slower.
Wow.
Which isn't good. I
used to slow down too slow.
Yeah, I used to go way too slow. But again, I was trying different methods out.
Yeah.
I don't know if you ever tried this, but like a 5-second concentric, 5-second eccentric.
I heard about it. Yes.
I've done that. I've done everything. I've tried it all, which is another good reason to experiment and see what works for you.
100%. Yes, 100%.
So if you have anything else to add,
I would say
Let me know.
like what you mentioned is like the main differences when it comes to that.
Yeah.
And like depending on our context, our experience, and all of that, that is how it, where the difference is at, I would say.
Yeah, I think we covered pretty much everything that I
Yes,
wanted to
I would
cover on
say
that
so.
topic.
Could go over to the next one. What do you think?
Okay, so I think we should actually.
Yeah.
So we could do want to know experiences in Thailand. That is more for you because you've been here way longer than me.
That's true, yes.
Also, I've been living here like I would in New York. I suppose because my mentality was to come here to spend a lot of time and live and not vacation. If I came here to vacation, I would have been in like the Phi Phi Islands, Krabi Islands, Koh
Yes.
Samui, like doing all that stuff, and that'll come eventually, just not now. You've gone to the islands though?
I did.
So maybe tell them a little bit about it because I
something
can't
we
wait to go.
want to do together at some point.
We're gonna go together
to like Koh Samui and or even like Koh Phi Phi. I've never been there in those islands, and it is beautiful. It is amazing. It is like, in a way, I was like living for some time in Koh Tao. I was in Koh Samui for holiday. Like those two are like, I've been in Phuket. My favorites are Koh Tao and Koh Samui though. So it is just amazing, like how, like when you go to Bangkok, it's already quite different, quite convenient. But on an island, even more so. So you can jump on your motorbike. The streets are empty. You can drive from like 5 minutes to the beach, for instance. So that is like super cool. And just the nature, it's like it gets to like in a really calm space in a way. Like you go there on some beaches or some viewpoints, and it's only you, and you're like just all the nature around you, the trees. You see the sea, and it's amazing. So that is definitely something. I definitely after prep I plan to do more. So I think a good timing is directly probably after prep to do like maybe a couple of weeks of like traveling, of like seeing what is here, like some different places. And no, it is super amazing. And like how it's like, there was also the question like how traveling affects training, recovery, diet. I would say it definitely can have a minor effect on the training, because you are forced to train in a different environment. And I believe to have the best training, you should train at your home gym most of the time.
I agree, 100%.
And recovery wise, traveling has an impact. I feel a little bit of like even going on a bus for 10 hours, going on an airplane, it has a little impact on my recovery, where I feel like a little trained. And diet wise, that is easy though, especially as flexible dieters. You have 7-Eleven everywhere here, so diet wise, everything easy. Mostly the main reason, if there would be a muscle factory in Koh Samui with exactly the same equipment, I would be now like going to Koh Samui. I wouldn't mind in a way. But having like that same equipment, all of that, where you used to, where you don't need to think about, especially during a contest prep, is quite important. Also during the off season. And I think the best timing to do so is like during a deload, for instance, like to do the traveling. That's like how I see it. But again, that is like because bodybuilding has like such a high priority for us as like professional athletes. For someone who's just a recreational lifter, I wouldn't be too worried about. Like you can, like if you train at a different gym, you still get like, and do similar movements, you still get like 95% in, 90%. But for us, like those 5-10% matter. So
yes, very true.
Like for someone who isn't like a competitive athlete, I wouldn't worry too much of like traveling. And as long as you get your training in and hit your calories, your macros, you should be fine.
Perfect.
That's how I see it.
That's a great answer. I mean, I covered everything basically that I wanted to know. So I don't have much experience here. I've only been here 7 months, but I did go to a Muay Thai professional fight. And if you're ever in Thailand, have you gone to one?
Mm-mm.
All right. So me and him have to go for sure. It's one of the best experiences ever. And it's funny because I met somebody from the Northeast of America at my gym here. It's a random occurrence. He came up to me and was like, "Oh, is there a pull-up belt?" And then we just started talking. He's like, "Oh, you speak good English." And then one thing led to another. He's like 4 hours from where I live in New York. And he's a Muay Thai fighter. He came here to fight Muay Thai, and I went to watch him. That's really the main reason why I went. What a great experience. I mean, this wasn't the highest end Muay Thai fight. It's not like the big guys like Rod Tang and those guys, but definitely really good fights, and I highly recommend it. I had a great time. I actually went with one of my buddies that's from Russia. I met on a Cambodia run. I met him.
That is awesome,
from St. Petersburg. Yeah, Paul. Shout out to Paul. We had a great time. So yeah, me and you have to go for sure.
Yeah, so a lot of stuff to do here. Like what we
so much.
Like, the temples as well, and
I'm in no rush at all. I'm in no rush.
Yeah,
I'll see everything eventually.
Eventually, exactly.
Yeah. There's one thing I wanted to touch on. I can't remember. Oh yeah, so when you talked about the islands, for me, the ideal situation is to live on an island, like on the beach.
That is awesome.
Have an insane bodybuilding gym right there.
Koh Samui is good.
That's it. That's all I need.
I'm actually thinking to maybe move to Koh Samui.
Yeah.
Next year or in 26.
I say we should think about it.
We should think about it. That
Moving
would be
to an island, yeah.
And then we can get a motorbike because the street is way different than Bangkok. There you can, like in Bangkok, I'm too scared to drive. But on an island, because on islands there's no cars, it's just bikes.
It's only mainly bikes. That's perfect.
So much easier. Yeah. And there's a good gym in Koh Samui. I remember I trained there, so we can really consider that. So imagine on our West days, you can just go to the beach.
Yeah.
Things like that. Like, you can do a lot. So
take your laptop on the beach.
Yeah, it's something to really think about, man.
That's like dream stuff. Think about that.
It is, yeah. And it's realistic.
It is, yeah. Which is nuts. Okay. Yeah. So, ice cream. Take it away.
Ice cream wise. Like there's Dairy Queen in Thailand. I don't know if you tried that.
We have that. We have that in the States.
Upside down. Oh, you have that in the States. Yeah. That's a good one. Like here they have like special flavors, like a lot of like matcha flavors and stuff.
You love matcha.
I love matcha. Yeah. So like Dairy Queen is good here. Besides that, they have like a Stone Cold Stone. Cold Stone, yeah. That is also nice. But I would say it's not super special. Like when it comes to like foods and stuff in Thailand, usually like more the pad thai, those kind of foods are very special here. Sushi is here good as well, Japanese food. Mm-hmm. But mostly like when it comes to sweet mango sticky rice, it's very famous here. That's very good. And they do very good coffee. Also like the matcha lattes and so on. They are amazing here.
Starbucks at every corner.
The Starbucks is amazing here. Mm-hmm. Food-wise, like the most famous really like just the fried rice chicken, like all those kind of things are amazing here. So ice cream-wise, I wouldn't say it's like the best place.
What's your favorite ice cream?
My favorite?
In general. Store-bought, doesn't matter where.
I would say, honestly, I like Ben & Jerry's a lot.
We're twins, I swear. This guy's in my head all day. It's crazy.
When I was in Vegas, there was a Ben & Jerry like ice cream store.
Yes.
And there they put like hot chocolate on top, sprinkles, and that was like, especially after prep, I was in heaven. That was so good.
It's so funny. I was just Ben & Jerry's is the best.
Ben & Jerry's.
Nothing touches Ben & Jerry's.
I think it's the best.
The flavors are so unique. You can't. It's just very hard to beat.
Häagen-Dazs is quite nice too.
Häagen-Dazs is excellent.
Häagen-Dazs, but Ben & Jerry's
is that still, German?
I think
sounds kind of. Oh, is it?
I think. But Ben & Jerry's is like the best, and you can get it also in Thailand. A little more expensive, I think, like 400 baht for it's like $15 for one.
They got one the supermarket.
They got it in the supermarket, but you pay like I think 12 or $15 for like one big one.
Might be worth it.
Might be worth it, like in prep.
Yeah. Oh, imagine how hard it hits when you're real lean.
Oh, this must be good. Like the peanut butter one, that's good.
Yeah.
So good.
Okay, so we both agree Ben & Jerry's.
There we go.
Good question, Matt. That's my client, Matthew.
The fourth one, experiences with training styles in your career, recovery rituals, mental cues when training, music selection, thoughts on NPC IFBB entering the natty game, what pushes you to stay natty,
really
seeing how much effort it takes compared to enhanced route.
I say we kind of went over the training styles.
Yeah, so we did. Like recovery rituals, maybe.
Do you have any?
Like rituals? Not really. Like I would say my recovery ritual is like on my rest days. I don't try to be stressed. In a way, like in a way, I try to do like now I want to get more into the habit of having a Thai massage here, like things like that.
Yeah, I still haven't gotten one yet.
Like a good thing on the West, I have like a nice like a Thai massage, or like there's also like those like warm baths here, which just looks amazing.
I haven't seen those.
They have a bunch here.
Warm bath.
Yeah.
Huh? Interesting.
So. And then besides that, like maybe doing something with friends, I think that's also all part of like recovery. And then, hey, getting the sleep in, keeping the stress low, that's all I would say for recovery.
I think that's the main thing. Hydration, keep your micronutrients high with vegetables and fruits, phytonutrients, green leafy vegetables, sleep, and then keep stress low. Keep a good, cheer in terms of everyday life. Make sure you're being positive. Those are I mentioned keeping stress low. Those are the main things. Like those are like the pillars.
Yes.
Now massage comes under that. I mean, not much else.
Even like going to the cinema, man.
Yeah, relaxation stuff.
Everything, yeah.
That's really it.
Yeah.
I don't really mess with cupping. I'm not sold on cupping.
Oh yeah, me too, man.
Cold water immersion isn't good for hypertrophy. That's out.
True.
You contrast showers. Hot, cold showers are great. If you want to do that, I highly recommend it. It's not going to affect your hypertrophic stimulus at all.
Your immune system gets like
right away. It's very good.
Yeah.
You really can't take a cold shower here because it's never cold.
It's never cold. Yeah, it's hot outside.
So it's just cooler than hot water here. Sweet. But that's it. Yeah, don't get crazy with like all these massage guns and all. It's like what we mentioned is basically
the big pillars.
Yeah,
like, I would say the biggest one is really like sleep and stress.
Yeah,
like keep your sleep up, your stress low. That is like, I would say 90% of recovery almost. And then obviously like good nutrition and getting the protein. But I would say like sleep and stress is like the biggest.
That's the biggest one for sure.
That's immense. Yeah, like sleep especially. Like you can do everything right. If you only get like 4 or 5 hours sleep in, you will feel under recovered no matter what.
Sleep is the natural bodybuilder's steroid.
I think so. It's like that's the most important. I would say sleep is the most important.
Because it regulates your hormones.
Yes, everything.
That's what it does. Yeah. Okay. So mental cues when training.
Mental cues when training. Like my only cue is honestly like just when I move a load, like, okay, doing it controlled. Does it feel controlled? Does it feel like it's getting to the muscle where I want it to go to? That's all my cues. I think like the more cues you have, the more you overthink and the less you can drive output. So I just have like my cues like control. Is it hitting the muscle that I want to hit? Mm-hmm. That is it.
That's it. I think that's all you need. Simplicity.
Simple. Yes.
Yeah, they say simplicity is. I don't know why I keep talking to the camera. I should be talking to you.
Yeah.
Such a camera hog. Yeah, simplicity is genius. I believe that athletes who have a clear mind tend to execute extremely well.
Yes, they don't think.
When they've practiced enough to get to the point where they don't have to think.
Yes, exactly. Where they can just focus.
It's just
like being in the zone.
So a decade or years and years for us, we are at that point now where it's 100%. Just like I don't have to think. I just lock in on the leg extension, pull myself down. Control and I'm not thinking, I'm just going.
Just going. Same thing for me.
And the sensation of my quads and everything, that kind of just relays, okay, I'm doing it right or am I doing it wrong? Am I feeling it in my quad? Am I having any injurious pain?
We're having the intuition in a way.
Yeah, exactly. Music selection, 0.
I don't listen to music during training.
I know.
So there's nothing.
Yeah.
Like sometimes what I like to do is like before I go to the gym, when I take a shower, I get ready, I like to put some music on.
Oh yeah?
Get me a little in the mood.
What kind of music?
Like hip hop music usually. Yeah, it can be anything. It can even be like rock or pop or something.
Yeah.
Sometimes I like to do that before the gym, but during training it's distracting me in a way during a set. And when I listen to music that I'm like I can't focus as good. It's like it's just for me personally. Yeah.
Yeah. So you don't listen to the music that they're playing at the gym. You're basically blocking that out.
It's blocking that. Yeah, and when I have earplugs in, I can't block that out. The music at the gym, I can't block out. So,
So I'll put in my earbuds either with no music, just to kind of lock me in, and to drown out the noise of the gym.
Yes.
Sometimes I'll put on like monochromatic music where it's just like the same beat over and over. That just allows me to focus, but I could use no headphones at all and focus fine.
Same for me. Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah, I'll leave it at that. I won't go too far into that one. So thoughts on NPC IFBB entering the natty game?
My honest thoughts when it comes to that. Yeah. I would say I don't agree with the rules they have in regards of like staying natty for 3 years, which is a little bit ridiculous. Of like you are allowed to enter if you stay natural for 3 years. So it means like you can be taking steroids all your life, decide to not take them for 3 years and step on a natty stage, which is a little weird. So
that is weird.
That is like a big thing. And there's also a lot of like scandals, I would like to call them, where people who are obviously enhanced stepping on that natural stage, especially within the women's selection where you can just tell. And that is like, something I wouldn't put my money in when it comes to registrations and so on. And mostly something I wouldn't support with my name. So I'm not a big fan of it. I see it as a way of the IFBB just trying to make some more money.
Correct.
Of like calling, like they don't do it with integrity, like the WNBF, for instance, where they stay behind it. They really believe in natural bodybuilding, and the IFBB is seeing it as like, okay, that is one way of make a little bit more money. We don't really care if like the people are truly natural, as we can see on the shows, as we can see of like, oh, stay 3 years natural. So that is like my take on that.
Yeah, that's a good take. I'm on board with it. Basically, 3 years drug-free is a complete joke to me.
Imagine a Jean-Claude Wieder could say, oh, I don't take anything for 2 years. Let's step on stage.
Freaking the Mr. Olympia could say that.
Yes.
And I'm sure he's going to hold on to plenty of muscle he grew from roids moving into the natural competition.
Even after 2 years when he keeps on training.
So that's all I need to know. So there's a reason why we compete in the WNBF. It's because they are the top organization in terms of competitiveness and drug testing and integrity. This is an opinion, obviously, but that's what I'm seeing right now. And if something changes, I'll be the first to say it. But from my viewpoint of the landscape of the sport, there's only 1, 2, maybe 3 natural organizations that are worth competing in. And WNBF is at the top.
At the highest level, I would say.
I think so.
Yeah. That is like, I would say also my take on that.
Yeah, so if you really want to compete as a natural bodybuilder and have the best chance to compete against other truly natural bodybuilders, I recommend competing in the INBF, which is the amateur division of the WNBF. I highly recommend. I tell that to all my clients.
Yes.
Now, there are other good organizations. I'm seeing the IPE being up there as well.
Oh, yeah.
And the OCB. These are organizations that I feel are doing an excellent job. And there's 1 or 2 more that are like kind of on the brink there. But
yes,
that's pretty much where I'm at.
I would say so as well.
Yeah. Okay, so what pushes you to stay natty, seeing how much effort it takes to compare to the enhanced route?
What pushes me, like the main thing what pushes me is like I want to test like the limit of what is possible natural for me. Like the main thing is like I saw like how much progress I made from 21 to 23 and now even from 21 to 24 without taking anything. And this is like a way of like, damn, like that, like there's so much more to like achieve when it comes to my physique. And this pushes me the most. I see like there's often the saying, oh, after 10 years, you can't make any more gains. And it's not true at all. Like a limiting belief. Mm-hmm. And that the main thing what pushes me is the progress. It's like, I can still get better. I can better, while just staying natural. That is what pushes me, even though it's like, takes in a way more effort than going into the enhanced route, I feel. Like, I think like making more if you're highly advanced, I do believe it is harder to make progress instead of someone who's enhanced, where it can be also a matter of like, is it the trucks who are doing the work for you or the training?
Agreed.
When you're natural, it is only your training and recovery what is like the main things, which makes it, in my opinion, harder. Like things need to be even more optimal.
For sure. No
in
question,
a way.
Really. Yeah.
And when you enhance, like it can be just a matter of like your truck protocol. It doesn't mean like you really improved on your training. And that is like what really keeps me like natural in a way. That's how I see it.
So when I first began bodybuilding, I trained at Bev Francis Powerhouse Gym in Syosset, Long Island, and that's the East Coast Mecca. So it's arguably one of the best bodybuilding gyms in the world, really. It's very famous. People from The Rock train there. I saw Ronnie Coleman train there. A ton of IFBB pros. They have trophies and pictures of all the competitors around the whole gym, with jerseys, football players train there, everybody. So when I first trained there, like 15 years old, I used to look at the guys that train there, and then I used to look at the guys on the wall. And I'm like, I never want to look like this.
Yeah, that is also
I just don't.
I don't really like that look as well. It's like it's super extreme.
Yeah, and for whatever reason, I wasn't ambitious on becoming Mr. Olympia. So maybe if I really wanted to, then I'd be like, well, I don't care how I look. I just want to win. But I didn't have that in me. It was nah, I don't even care about Mr. Olympia. And I didn't know that much about natural bodybuilding until maybe in my early 20s. And then I'm like, damn, this is a sport. Okay, let me try this out. Because I don't want to do roids. I don't want to look like that. And if I could channel my competitiveness in bodybuilding naturally, that's a win-win for me.
100%.
That's really it.
Same thing for me.
Plus, I like to suffer, honestly. I don't like easy things. I don't want easy stuff coming to me. I want to work for them. And what's a better way to gain small amounts of muscle
with a very short amount of time? While I don't want to like discredit like the the elite athletes within like the enhanced side of things.
Right.
However, I do think like it attracts a majority of people who are a little insecure in a way when it comes to steroids. Like that is like one thing, and because it's like that easy fix, that quick fix, and with natural bodybuilding it's like more, you need more discipline, you need more of like figuring stuff out. So that is also like one thing. Like all my life I'm someone who's never attracted to taking the easy route. I'm like, I want to like go the hard way, because I know the easy route is more often than not, it's like, it's maybe feels good short term, but you will have long-term consequences, whatever it is in life. So taking like that hard route is usually like what leads to a happy and good life. That's how I see it, and that's the reason.
Yeah, me and you both, man. I just genuinely don't enjoy when things are easy. I genuinely hate it.
Yes.
And it hurts me sometimes, but it also benefits me greatly, because you need that mentality for this sport. You'll never make it if you don't have patience. It's going to take a long time.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. It's like it's such a fine line of like not chasing the suffering, but also like not trying to make it too easy. Like just as hard as it needs to be. That's how I like to see it.
Yeah.
And no matter what, if you go to elite conditioning, it will be extremely hard, but you want to minimize still the suffering. That's how I see it. Yeah.
Like I'm not actively trying to suffer. It's just more of, this sport is a lot of hard work.
Yes.
And it's just, that's the way it is. I don't have to try to, you know, so it works out.
Amen.
So
next one.
We can move on from that. Right?
I mean, like body language. Is there many natty lifters who lift more like power building style, like Geoffrey Verify Schofield, and then there's like Dirk style lifters.
So this was
similar, like the training style kind of.
It is very similar.
Like it's like the thing of like figuring out what works for you in a way, I guess.
We pretty much touched on this with our training approaches.
Yes, we touched on that. It's like there's no like set in stone approach where people like to believe you need to train like that, you need to train like him. There's many ways, so many ways to get there, and like all the great athletes prove that there are a lot of ways, and like no absolutes, I would say.
Right, that should cover that. Exactly. There's really no correct way. There's many ways to progress in bodybuilding. Yes. Just take a look at, let's say, Doug Miller train, and then take a look at how Dirk trains. Yeah. Both world champions. So it does depend on the individual, and that's where it's good to have someone who has experience as a coach and a bodybuilder to help you find that avenue to progress. Okay, how do you guys manage your nerves on show day, on stage, when competing at the highest level?
Honestly, I'm not nervous at all. The thing is, I know, and I did everything. I know I'm at my best. I'm looking good. I'm very calm. Like, especially at Worlds, where I know I'm at 110%. I'm extremely calm. I have no nerves, because I know like I'm at my absolute best. Nothing to worry about. If I know, I wouldn't put all my effort, power into bring my best. I would be not nervous. I would be a little disappointed about myself, and this in hindsight makes me nervous and not calm. So knowing I'm at my 100%, my best, I'm very calm. That's how it is for me.
Comes from confidence.
From confidence. Right. Yes, that is the main thing. Confidence.
If you're confident, why are you nervous?
There's no reason to be nervous.
I'm the same way. I get no nerves.
Not at all.
Zero. I used to get nervous for wrestling. Every match I was nervous.
Because you don't know like how it's different. What's happening.
Like I feel like people who've done hard sports in the past and come to bodybuilding, there's like no real nerves. Like what you were doing, like with parkour, where you can get so injured.
So nervous, like before big jumps.
Yeah,
because you know what can happen. You could die if you do something. You could, honestly, bodybuilding, nothing happens. Like, like you a little bit maybe like, I wouldn't say nervous, but curious, like when they call the placings, like first place this person, second place, then you get, I think, excited, not nervous.
Excited.
Let's see what happens. Like there I don't really stay, like I stay calm, but like you get excited, I would say. That's like one thing.
Yeah. So George St. Pierre, who's one of the best MMA fighters of all time, he got extremely nervous before fights, and he's one of the best ever.
Yes. But
he's fighting.
You know what can go. You don't know what happens.
You're literally going in a ring with someone who could kill you.
Exactly.
So it's understandable. But if you're confident, you crossed your T's, dotted your I's for bodybuilding, you're most likely not going to be super nervous unless it's your first time.
Oh, the first time I was very nervous.
Right. But once you do it over and over again, then it just becomes like another thing. It's like posing practice. I'm not nervous for posing practice.
You know what is expected, like what
Right.
is happening.
Right.
And with that, there was like also like how we practice to employ for posing, knowing that you will likely be on stage for a relatively extended amount of time for your symmetry and muscularity rounds at Worlds. On that one, I made a wheel like a few weeks ago of like doing stamina training in the morning, 6 days a week for 10 minutes, where I just holding front relaxed, side relaxed, back relaxed, 10 minutes straight without a rest, 6 days a week. And as simple as it sounds, it is all I need.
What did you say the total time was?
10 minutes.
For posing?
Yes, like 6 days a week, just symmetry, and then I do like 3 rounds of muscularity after training as well.
Oh, but not right after symmetry?
No, that's I'm doing in the afternoon.
Interesting. So the most you pose at one time is 10 minutes?
Yes.
Interesting.
Like holding it for 10 minutes, like without any rest.
So 10 minutes of symmetry.
Yeah, just holding a front relax for 2, then a side relax for 1, a back relax again.
Very interesting.
And it is way harder than it sounds, like 10 minutes.
Oh, well, you're holding it for so long.
Yeah, like it may be like 10 minutes. Oh, that's quick. But just try to hold a front relax for even 30 seconds.
It's not easy.
You will start like by really having your quads flexed, everything engaged all the time. Way harder than many think.
People don't realize posing is not the easiest thing to do.
It is hard, right? Because you need to keep every muscle flexed.
Everything, man.
Yeah, especially bodybuilding posing. Maybe like men's physique is a little easier because you don't need to flex your legs. But bodybuilding, you need to keep your quads tight, your hamstrings tight. That is hard. Yeah.
So we have very similar approaches. I would say around the 3.5 month mark out from my first competition of the season, I'll start posing. I actually don't pose at all in the off season. And I really only start about 3 to 4 months out from my first comp.
Right.
But once I do begin, it's, let's say 3 times per week, 15 minutes a shot. Maybe a couple weeks later, 4 times a week, 15 to 18 minutes a shot. And then a few weeks later, I'll go to 5 times a week, up it to 20 to 22 minutes each time. And then up until about 3 days from competition, it's like 6 days a week, probably like 25 minutes a shot.
That is a lot. Yeah. Wow. And this way you will really be on stage.
Yeah.
Like
I really ramp it up.
Yeah, that is smart. That's what I do as well. Like 3 weeks out, I will probably increase it to like 15-ish minutes.
Yeah.
So to just be prepared in a way.
Right.
Stamina-wise.
But the holding is important, as Dirk said.
It is.
So I'll increase the amount of time I hold each pose as well as I get closer to it.
Because they keep you up there long, especially within the WNBF. I was 1 hour on stage last year. It was an hour. Imagine that. And you could tell the people who did the practice and the people who didn't practice stamina. If you don't practice it, you kind of like, you start jittering and like, you like don't flex the muscles anymore. You look nervous and it doesn't feel good. You don't have fun in a way. Yeah.
Was that because the weight class was very big? Is that why?
Like it was like 16 or 17 people. So big, man.
That's a lot.
That's a lot, yeah. So let's see how it will be this year, man. I'm excited.
Yeah, man. I can't wait. I hope I can make it. I'm going to try to make it, man.
It would be awesome, man.
I have to.
It would be so cool. And we can spend maybe a couple of days after there.
Yeah.
In Boston. So
you think you'll go out to eat?
After prep, yeah.
You're going to go?
I will have like a dinner meal and then like for me after prep, like especially since last prep, I have a very good control after. I don't go nuts. Like I can really like I don't need to track afterwards. Just don't go nuts. I just have like a normal person meal after. I have a normal person breakfast, a normal person lunch. And that is the thing. There you don't really need to track. You will want to gain body fat faster back. However, when it's like still reasonable amounts and the people in the restaurant don't like, what is going on with this guy? You're like, you won't get fat super quick after. That's how I like to see it. But it is like it's like some experience. Like a lot of people can't do that. Where like having that control of like, you could eat like 10,000 calories in a sitting, like technically, like your body would be like, can eat a lot.
Happy with it.
Yeah, and like if you keep it controlled, it's fine, I guess.
Yeah.
Like, but it's a lot of self-control as well, and
yeah,
all of that.
Okay, well I'll be in the off season when you come off the world stage, so hopefully I'm there.
Then we could party. Cool, man. Last one.
Habits of high performing natural bodybuilders.
Habits. Let me think. I would say one of the main habits, what all high-performance natural bodybuilders have, is they having a routine, like a day-to-day routine, a quite boring routine. Most elite natural bodybuilders, you don't see them like winging every day, like, oh, like I go party here, I go travel there. Like they don't have like a very like exciting life. Like
Right.
still like we want to have that time to time to throw that in for some balance, but we have a very structured day in a way of like, hey, we are having that amount of meals and we having that foods at home. We don't travel too much. I think like a big one is like there's a lot of routine and structure. That's like I would say like I can call it a habit, like in a way. So I would say that is like a big habit. And then besides that, like again, like having a good sleep hygiene, like being living a little bit like a boring person in a way, right? I would
Basically.
say that is like the big habits, and it looks different for everyone, right? Like what is it needs to be your balance of like what is a routine for someone else might be a horrible routine for me, and I think you need to find that routine what works the best for you, what keeps you the most stress free. Like some people, they need to have like such a to-do list that every day is super structured. For me, I can still wing it a little bit of like, okay, maybe I work an hour. On other days, I work 2 hours in the morning or 3 hours. For some people, they need to have that exact amount, that exact time to go to the gym and things like that. And I think you need to find like what gives you the least amount of stress. Like some people get stressed out if they wouldn't have a to-do list. Other people get stressed out because of a to-do list. So I think it's key of like, yeah, knowing what works best for you, and then and that is will be the habit, like keeping that just intact, I would say.
Yeah, routine.
Yeah,
I would say is probably the most important for athletes.
routine.
Most athletes, especially for natural bodybuilders.
Yes.
But habits.
Like habits, it's hard to tell with habits.
I would say mentally really keeping strong is probably the number one.
Yes.
Mentally not being emotional and just executing, because emotions usually get you into trouble in many areas, and there's really not much room for emotions for a natural bodybuilder at the highest level because they kind of just get in the way. We just need to focus on what we need to do, hit our X's and O's, and then move on. Emotions fatigue you as well. I highly recommend not getting emotional before competing because you'll gas yourself out. Don't get emotional for the most part during training. You'll fatigue way faster.
Yeah,
control your emotions is a good habit.
It's a very good one. And the thing is, like, you don't want to suppress your emotions. You just don't want to be controlled by them.
Yeah.
And you can see that at the gym when like someone goes before a set, like, or during it's like super hyped up, that like way higher risk of injury, less stimulus, all of that. And I think the key is, like you said, like mastering the emotions in a way of like not getting controlled by them, because it's impossible to suppress them. Like emotions will just show up, but we are like the master of them.
Right.
That's how I like to see
Controlling them is important.
Controlling them. And another habit I would say is also like, hey, it's as simple as like tracking your nutrition. Like everything that goes into your mouth is tracked down. I would say that's a habit of like, which doesn't come natural at first, where you're like, oh, I grab a snack here and there. Like getting into the habit of like everything you eat is weighted down, monitored, and there again, like emotions play a role. Like, hey, if you get hungry, you don't get overwhelmed by the hunger during a prep.
Yeah.
And that is how binges happen, or like eating over your calories, is because the hunger controls you, and you need to be like seeing the hunger, accepting it, seeing it as part of the process, and then still doing what you need to do. That's how I see it.
Yeah, not letting your feelings dictate what you have to do. That's exactly right.
Because otherwise you won't be successful within bodybuilding. There will be so many times of where you feel low energy, where you feel hungry. In the back of your mind, it will tell you, oh, it is just one big meal away to feel better. And you need to say no, in a way, right? Yeah. Like, especially when you get very, very lean. Obviously, you won't feel better physically after a big meal when you're very lean, but mentally a little bit, like, because you have that short-term gratification.
Well, your mind's gonna make you think it'll make you feel better,
but it's just it's faking it.
Yeah,
the same thing of like eating 10,000 calories after prep. Your mind thinks, now eat 10,000 calories, you will feel better, but you will feel even worse because it takes time.
It's a trap.
Yeah, to recover. So your mind is like trapping you.
So tracking everything that goes into your mouth, also tracking your training is super important. So both of those habits. Try to get on a good sleep schedule where you're sleeping relatively around the same time every night, so you get your body into a good rhythm so you actually can sleep well.
Yes.
Is another habit I use or I administer in my day-to-day life. I would say that's mainly it.
When it comes to habits, I would say so as well. Like making sure you have all the food at home that you want to eat as well. Like that's like as much as a habit, like a thing you usually do, I would say. I would say that's like the main thing when it comes to habits. I would say so.
Man, we knocked out everything.
We knocked out everything. Amazing. And I think there's a lot of value for everyone what we covered on here.
A ton of value. I mean, I don't have the time in front of me, but it's got to be near an hour.
I guess so. So
perfect.
Awesome. Another one is down.
Another one down. Episode 2 of the Natural Bodybuilding and Chill podcast in the books. Thank you again for everyone who sent us topics. For our next episode, we'll do the same thing. We're going to look for people to send us conversational topics to go over during our podcast, as well as just kind of just freestyling and doing.
And also like some things what come to our mind ourselves, some recent things. For instance, I would say it's also always a good thing. Like a few updates.
Yes, like especially for prep. I know everybody's very interested in Dirk's prep, so we should touch on that.
Next podcast, I will be 4 weeks out, so this will be interesting. Of like maybe covering a little of that as well.
And then competing in Dubai.
In Dubai, yeah.
So cool.
Just booked all my flight, my hotels there. First time ever in Dubai as well, and it's now in 6 weeks' time. So time flies.
Exactly 4 weeks from when?
4 weeks on the next. Now it's 6 weeks, but then for the next podcast, like 4 weeks out.
Do you remember the date again? I know you mentioned it to me.
It's on 22nd September. It is so soon, man.
My visa ends the 29th before I have to renew it.
29. Oh, you might want to come to Dubai. You could technically do it.
That would be what they want. Fly in, fly out. But we'll see what happens with our visa.
We're seeing what that. This could be an option if you want to.
Yeah, it could be.
It would be cool.
Damn, I'd love to go and watch.
This would be nuts.
Thank you guys for watching. We're going to try to upload as much as possible. And if Dirk doesn't have anything else he wants to mention.
That's mostly it. Thank you guys for also all the support from the first episode. And we are looking forward to keeping all of that up and keep on growing with that.
That's it.
That'll be the plan.
Another one in the books.
Awesome. There you
go.
Brother. Thank you guys.
See you guys later.
Bye.